Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being patient. I really appreciate that.
Of course, of course. How's your night going so far?
Great, great. I just shared a very heartfelt, powerful video based on what I shared last night. Kind of felt it coming through, and I'm like, I think this is the right time to post it right before our session. So when you get a chance to watch it, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yes, I'll definitely check it out. Sometimes you gotta follow it when it comes up in you, you're like, I'm like that. Sometimes I'm like I'll be with people and I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna step away for
Yeah,
like two
yeah,
minutes. I'll be
yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta
It's
like
like, and it was first take too. It was a 3 minute video. I didn't really post that long because I usually have like music and kind of set the tone, but this one was just raw. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it, and it came out good.
oh, I love that. Those are the best ones when it's just like raw and like you're in flow.
Oh, flow, yeah, flow state. I love it. Well, I did have my 5 hour energy also. That kind of helped.
I hear you. Sometimes I do drink Celsiuses and like
Yeah,
C4s. I'm not gonna lie.
I am addicted to the flow state. I'm not gonna lie. So once I'm in that flow state, I'm like, yes, whatever can get me that flow state, let's go. So,
Yes, yes. So
but
I kept getting a little confused. Is your name Francesco or Amati?
it's Francesco. It's Francesco. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
My
okay,
my
Francesco.
last name is Amati. My service that I have, embody with Amati, is my last name because Amati actually means God's love,
Hmm.
beloved. So it kind of works well with what I do.
I love that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I like it. I was like, hey, Amadi, my name is Ariel, but my like family and close friends, they call me Adi. So I was like, oh, Amadi and Adi,
I
cool.
love it. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is alignment. Absolute alignment. This is
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, beautiful name.
Yes. Thank you so much. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Jersey, but I was born in Italy, so I'm Italian. I dates when I was about one, but then I only went back, and they had my middle brother, and I returned to the States when I was about almost five. Lived in Florida first, and went to school there. Started a little bit late, so I was a little behind, um, but learned the language pretty quickly. Actually got a kid's book published in the Marriott Beach library for kids at the time. It was crazy. It's called The Runaway Lion. Still have the original copy. And then came to New Jersey when I was about 9, 10 years old. And I've lived in Jersey ever since and never went back to Italy. So it's been a long time. I'm 39 now, almost 40.
Wow, that's awesome. It's been an adventure, to
Yes.
say the least.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. How
that's
about
that's
yourself?
cool. I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, in like a small little uh hood town. It's called Lawrence, Massachusetts. That's where I was like born and raised. But then when I turned 18, I kind of went on this journey. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew there was a call for this, for all of this. So as soon as I turned 18 and I graduated high school, I moved and I just left and I just traveled all around the world, all over the US, parts of Europe, parts of Mexico, and then eventually I settled in Florida. At
Oh,
first I was in
beautiful. Look
Miami.
at that.
Yeah, at first I was in Miami for like 2.5 years, but I'm not gonna lie, it got a bit wild for me. It was definitely a journey over there. So then when I came to Orlando, that's when it was more grounded and family vibes and
Yeah,
like
I like
peaceful
Orlando.
energy. Yes, yes. So now I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Beautiful. I do miss the weather. I miss the beach, not gonna lie. And my mom especially, she's crazy about the beach, but doesn't like the storms. So she kind of like it's like that bittersweet, like she misses it, but at the same time it's like, I don't really want the hurricanes. But Orlando's a good spot to be. You don't really get hit as hard as other
Yes.
parts.
For sure, for sure. Me and my family are always like, thank God, because it's
Yeah.
true. Like, around the coast, they get hit pretty hard. We
Yeah.
we just get like the after effects, like the spritz, the
Yeah. We
rain.
just we just got the tail end, or we're getting the tail end of that hurricane that's passing through. The Jersey Shore is pretty wild. With two people died actually because idiots. They didn't obey the state of emergency thing in the ocean, and they got swept away. So, But yeah, usually when the
Wow.
hurricanes get up here, they get to like stage two, category two, one, and then they die out. But but yeah, we used to live in Daytona. That was where we lived, Daytona, Port Orange specifically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I've been to.
and we almost got a house before moving to where we are now. Almost got a house in Tequesta, like near Jupiter, I think it was. And then
Uh-huh.
last minute, my parents were like, "Nope, we're gonna stay in Jersey." So they just sold a house there and ended up here. And I'm actually living here with them because after my divorce, it's been a, kind of a journey getting myself back on my feet. And I am a father, also I have a son, and I remarried. So that's been my life.
That's beautiful that you remarried. And how old is your son, if you don't
He's
mind me asking?
he's 7. His name is Adam.
Oh, so cute. That's
Yeah,
that's my favorite age range from like 2 to like 8 or 9. I feel like that's when their inner child is just the most alive and like they haven't had society or like school
yeah,
and certain outside influences. They don't care what people think yet. Like
no,
they're just like
exactly.
their
You know,
full
and
authentic self.
right, and I'm encouraging that early on to like speak his heart, to be emotionally intelligent. All right, that's the most important thing. Like feel his emotions and be who he is, because it's kind of cutthroat for men in this society, especially like that suppress their emotions or feelings. And like I want him to just be himself, and honor that. And if people call him weird, I want him to like own that weirdness, that uniqueness. Like that's you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like the more weird and expressive you are, the easier it is to find your people, you know?
and that authenticity is key. Absolutely. And
Yes,
he sees
yes.
he sees what I do. He sees what I do. It's funny. He when he saw I was doing the donation, the helping the kids in Uganda, the first thing he said is like, "Daddy, do I have anything I can give them?" It was awesome to see
Oh,
him be empathetic, and it's like, "No, I have these toys I don't play with anymore. Can we send it to them? Can I say hi to the kids?" Awesome to you know set that example for them early.
that is so nice. I love that. It was just like it just came naturally. Like, what can I give?
Yeah, I love it.
Like
I
it's
love
an
it. Yep.
exciting thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's important. I mean, whether you're a parent or not, I feel like having that conscious connection with children, um,
Mhm.
is an important part of the future. That's why like a lot of my attention lately has gone to the youth, and trying to get them on the right track to have a better future. One of my early aspirations when I was in high school and college was my background's philosophy, was to incorporate or implement a mindfulness class as early as like middle school. So kids entering high school later years, they're less like have bullying issues, peer pressure, because when they know themselves, when they have a better understanding of their emotions and how to process and how to navigate through them, they can handle the situations better. Like we ask kids to like figure out their life and what to do, what to be, and they don't even know themselves. So having like an empathy mindfulness class, I think Sweden's doing that. Actually, they incorporated that in Swedish schools, and it's been amazing. So I think emotional intelligence is totally overlooked in this country, in the US, and I do hope that that changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that like you said, it's like they're gonna go through certain things, certain changes. So it's good for them to have the tools, because sometimes like back in the day I used to get caught up in like I just wanted to eliminate darkness for people so bad. But then I kind of shifted and I was like, I can't eliminate all of it, obviously, right? But at least if people have the tools and they can, self-regulate and bring themselves like come back home to themselves, then anything they face, they'll be okay,
I feel
you
like
know?
our paths, it's crazy what you're saying. I got chills at you saying that, because I feel like we come from different worlds, but I feel like your soul, like what you set out to do, what you saw, and how you are, is very similar to the track of life like I was living. Because when I was in high school, I developed this, like I have an early video in my feed of a method that I used in high school called the AAA method, and it was acknowledging the issue, accepting whatever the issue is that you're going through, and then adapting, right? And like ascending basically to help yourself or another person. And I've used that throughout my whole life, and it's important, right? It's like you can't help everyone the tools to at least like acknowledge what their issues are, their shadows, and then accepting it, and like rejecting it or being ashamed of it, and then adapting. That's how people through, you know, the life stressors and whatever the personal issues they're going through. So I feel like we're on the same wavelength of like how we see, you know, people life and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's like I honor people's journey, you know. Sometimes we're meant to go through certain pains and darkness and certain trials and tribulations and
Right.
to be cracked open. So it's like it's painful and it's not always the most enjoyable experience, of course, but you know, like it's building something in me. It's I'm cracking open, but the light is like shining out the more it
Yeah.
happens. So you're like
I
you
love
appreciate it.
you really appreciate the depths of your light and love unless you see the contrast and you experience that darkness and whatnot. But I think a big misconception people have with light and love is that it's not spiritual bypassing. When you use light and love as a tool to expose the darkness, right? To see where the darkness is, right? And what the pain is teaching you, right? What the fear and insecurities and traumas and wounds that you have, you can't meet those with more of the same. Like you can't fix issue by using the same, mindset that caused it. So that's why when we have light and love, when we embody light and love, we use that in the fire. And that's what Christ did. It's exactly what he did. He didn't meet hate with more hate. He didn't meet violence with more violence, right? He was light and love in the fire, right? He saw the darkness, he saw the pain, he saw the suffering, and he didn't say, okay, well, that sucks. Like, I'm just going to join in and be more of it. No, he applied light and love to the world. And that's what I, strive to do through Christ consciousness, through what I'm teaching in my work.
Yes, absolutely. And I really respect what you do. I was going to mention that too. I'm so grateful that we were able to have this call because it's like, I mentioned that to one of my friends. I was like, I feel like we're like cousins or brother and sister in another
Yes, I
realm
thought
or something.
wild. Wow, I don't even know you, but like I thought that immediate. You just know. You get that resonance. You get that immediate synchronicity, and it's like I'm supposed to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So what like led you here to like do like creating all the content you do and guiding people and wanting to like not just wanting to because now you're being it, you're embodying it, but was there like a moment in your life or like several moments that led to you deciding to do this or like
Yeah,
realizing this was your path?
yeah. So I mean, I think you can relate to this, and many people on this path commit this that you always felt a little bit different growing up, a little bit alien, very introspective, self-reflective. I felt like I was observing the world, and I was fascinated by what made people do what they do, and think the way they think, and feel the way they feel. And I attributed that to the ego and how we live our life kind of like on autopilot. And when we say like, why did I think what I thought, feel what I felt, say what I said, and did what I, do what I did, it's because we're not present, right? We're not in our higher state of awareness, and we allow the ego to take control of our life, right? So that was one of the early catalysts of that, just me being the way that I was. Um, my spiritual path really started when I actually delved into Tool, the band. I first listened to them when I was like 15, 16, and Lateralis was the album that I listened to. My dad actually introduced me to them. And I was introduced to this like spiritual, like aspect of myself, of life, and kind of seeing things in a deeper end, but it wasn't anything new. I felt it was more like, wow, this speaks to how I am, and it's just allowing me to go deeper. And that music really kind of was the catalyst to that. Then I watched The Matrix, and that was another big movie that like changed the trajectory of my life. And like, I started to like gravitate towards things that were reminding me more of myself, that were helping me see more. And the more that I was in alignment with myself, the more I experienced my reality that kept me learning more about me, right? And even loved and like just things I enjoyed were a reflection of who I was. And they were like almost like they were put there for me to like learn more about me and life and others. But it wasn't until 2012 at my spiritual awakening. And I documented, if you ever want to read that, I have it on my page. A few posts about that. And actually in this house I am right now. Um, and I was alone in my kitchen and I was just writing and I was on spring break from college. Song playing. It was Dream Big by Mark Petrie, I think his name is. It was just instrumental tracks. I love that kind of music. I feel like that kind of gets me in that flow state. So anyway, I was listening to the song and in that moment, that song wasn't just a song anymore. I felt like it opened up like a pathway and elevated me to like a higher state of awareness. Like my whole body was one with goosebumps and like everything felt more illuminated and felt like the song was even louder. I didn't even have headphones, it just was playing. And I was like, wow, what is happening right now? And from that experience, I started to just almost like I felt like just information was like streaming in my mind. And I was writing as things were coming in and I was saying words I'd never said before. And I was like looking them up, like, are these actual words? And I wrote like the longest poem I've ever written before called The Transcendent Truth. And I'll share that with you one day too. Anyway, so this experience opened me up to more of who I truly am. It's like I saw a flash of my life as if like I was dying, but it wasn't like death. It was like I understood all the choices that I had made leading to that moment, my relationships, who I was, why I love what I did, why I wasn't like other people. Like I understood everything about myself. I understood everything is one. I understood the connection to nature and reality and everything. And then after that experience, I went into my foyer and I dropped down to my knees. And there's a picture, like in most Italian households and Spanish households, there's a picture of Jesus in the foyer. And and it says, "Trust in thee." I fell to my knees. I looked up at Jesus and I was like, I understand now. Like in that moment, I felt all the suffering of the world in like one shot. And I started getting flashes of like, homeless people and people suffering and sickness. I was crying. I also had joy. Like I felt more of me than I ever felt before. And I said, I understand you now. Like I was not religious. I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I wasn't, into the religion. Never read the Bible and none of that. But in that moment, I understood Jesus's way, like as if I had stepped into his consciousness and understood why he was the way that he was, why he did what he did, and from that point forward, and like never looked back. Like I was on cloud nine for like 2 weeks. I hardly ate, hardly slept, but I had this like high energy, like it was floating, and I actually ended up breaking up with my fiance at the time. I was 26, and I saw such a contrast between how she was and how I was then. I was like so averse to toxicity. Like she was someone who talked bad about people behind their back, and I was like, why are you doing that? Like I just was so averse to all that. Um, and then as we were like walking the dog outside, I'm like looking up at the sky, and I'm like, I just want to go home. Like that was the kind of feeling I had. It was wild, and I actually discovered the Pleiades at that time. I had no idea who they were, but like this whole experience just started opening up pathways and things. Like I was just looking into things I never looked into before, including twin flames. I even like learned about twin flames during this time, and because I had experienced God's love. That what that was I was literally experiencing God's love. And I knew then, I was like, what I'm in right now with this girl is even close to what I just experienced by myself. So no, this isn't real. Like I could do better than this. I could be in a better relationship than this. And so we parted ways. But I returned back to school and I told my professor everything I experienced. And I was actually struggling in metaphysics at the time. And it was one of my core classes, philosophy, like hovering between like a C and D. Like interest, but I just couldn't the concepts of being and becoming and oneness and like metamorphosis, all these things, nature, reality. But then when I came back to my spring break, everything just made sense. Like for example, like I would use the butterfly metaphor, and I would say like a butterfly is already a was already a butterfly in the process of being, like becoming what it already is. And like I just understood things on a different level. And my professor was like, "Did you have that experience?" I was like, "I that experience too." Yes, I had that experience. And I ended up with an A in the class. And I, from that point forward, I was just on this solo journey. Um, I did end up being in another relationship. That was my ex-wife, and I had my son, and I lost touch with that side of my life. But I longed for it. And then towards the end of my marriage, um, I had such a disconnect with her because that part of me longed to experience what I had experienced like in 2012. And I'm like, why am I so far away from what I had learned, what I experienced? And I wanted to return to that state, not to experience the euphoria and everything that comes. I think people will get, caught up in that. Like, I want to experience that euphoria. And that's why people go on ayahuasca journeys and they want to feel that high. And that's not the most important part of an awakening or enlightenment. The most important part of that experience is what you take away from it, the wisdom that you come away from that experience, because it's like going on a roller coaster for the first time. Like, you're going to roller coasters again, and you're going to try to replicate the first experience, and it's going to be awesome each time, but it's not like the first time you experience it. So it's not that high that I experienced from that, that awakening, and just wanted to return, like what I learned from this, and how am I not embodying that in my life now? And the more I came to that realization, the more I realized, wow, we are so far apart, like emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We didn't have spiritual connection. So I was like, I need to tell her this. And, she her own journey, we're 10 years apart and other ways. And I ended up with somebody, after about later, with someone who was spiritual. And it was then in 2023 that I started my Instagram page. I felt like this person like reflected back to me like what my purpose was, what my journey was. Like, she's like, I think you're someone who has a lot to share with the world. You should really start something with what you learned, from your. And so I started my Instagram page in 2023, and I didn't start sharing that. I was just sharing things I had learned from that experience about oneness and the law of one and whatnot. And I didn't start actually with Christ consciousness. I was mostly talking about higher consciousness. There was still a part of me that was, a bit hesitant, um, fear of judgment about using Christ and Christianity or religion. And then 2020, about a year later, um, I kind of broke away and I said, you know what? Embody my authentic self. And I knew I can't deny what I experienced. Like, that whole experience revolved around Christ, but I wasn't a Christian. Can I speak on Christ even though I'm not a Christian? And that was the biggest, I think, stigma that I had to overcome, is that, like, even now when I talk to people about Christ or share through my work and God, the first thing is there's no way you can talk about Christ without being a Christian, or, or if you don't read the Bible, how could you have a relationship with God? Like, there's such a dichotomy between that. And I like, it's all conditioning. It really is. People are, in the religion and feel it's the only, Christ, when I've experienced Christ's essence and his wisdom directly. And it was a direct experience. And that's what the Gnostics, that's what the mystics had experienced long before religion was even a thing. And so that's what I help people return to now in their interrelationship, in their personal relationship. The foundation is Christ consciousness, embodying Christ's wisdom and way of being, which is oneness. It is unity consciousness. And that was the core takeaway of my awakening.
Mm. Wow. That is so powerful and awesome. It's like what separates, and sometimes it's better that way, because when someone is only introduced to Christ through like books
Right.
and logic instead of actually feeling and like experiencing it, like it's such a different experience, you know?
And when I explain this to people, Christians most notably, they tell me, well, how do you know that was Christ? How do you know it wasn't Satan and Lucifer fooling you? The way to answer these people who come at you with these questions is, if any teaching or experience brings you closer to Christ, yourself and others that isn't of Satan, because Satan wouldn't do Satan would pull you further from God and from others, would make you doubt your heart, would make you question love when it's in front of you. So the irony of this is that when I am standing before a Christian as love and preaching what Christ taught, they doubt it, which is exactly what the enemy wants. And that is like the first trigger. They feel like, whoa, like, how can I trust this? Well, I'm showing you love. If Christ is before you and share what I just shared, would you be doubting Christ? And they don't know how to react to that because they've only known Christ through the book. They've only known Christ through the institution, right? But when you experience Christ directly, it's an undeniable knowing. It's like it's always been there, and it's always within us. And God can wait forever. But once you awaken to the realization, it's like the idea of birds flying behind you, and you turn around and you're like, oh, there's birds flying behind me. Well, they've been flying behind you. Your awareness realized after, but your consciousness knew they were there. So when your awareness is in alignment with your consciousness, that is when you come into the realization of what is. You are in the what is.
Mm. And then it becomes all you can see.
Right.
It's like, oh my
Exactly.
God, my eyes are open. It's
Your
like
eyes are
that's the
open,
whole
and then
reborn thing, you
that's
know.
that is the actual rebirth. That is the rebirth, and the second coming of Christ is Christ rising within humanity. Okay, and
Yeah.
that's why I was so compelled to share the videos I just did before the session. Is that, to me, living embodiment of what Christ's teachings is what, like, Miss Rachel's doing, right, for the children in Gaza and Uganda and children in general, right? She is not tainted by exterior influences. Okay, whether it's religion, politics, society, she does what she feels in her heart is right to do. And what's sad to me is that the heart is what Christianity makes you doubt. They called it wicked and deceived you. And what better way to pull you from yourself and make you doubt yourself, that if you doubt your heart, how can you trust anybody else? And this further fuels separation and division among society. And that, to me, is the Antichrist. So people ask me, what is the Antichrist? No, it's not AI. It's not mysticism or Gnosticism. It is the very thing that pulls you from your heart, where God dwells, where Christ speaks.
Yeah. Anything that tries to lie, that's where they say like, oh, the devil is a lie. It's like, yeah, the illusion of separation is like the core lie of everything. That it's like if you can just like understand that it's an illusion, it kind of dissipates everything else.
Everything.
It's
Based on
like
what I
that illusion of
based
separation.
on what I just said, where are you with Christ consciousness? Because this is something I really want to own in on in this, because I think that the world is coming around to Christ consciousness and is really understanding now what it actually is. It's not replacing Christ. It's not denying Christ. It's honoring the essence of Christ. So what's your take on Christ consciousness?
Uh, Ultimately, like I went on a journey with Christ because I grew up Christian by my aunt and my grandmother. My parents were not with, they did not like stuff like spiritual God, like they did not talk about stuff like that. It was from my aunt and my grandmother. But then as I grew, so I loved it. It was cool. It was just what I grew up with. But then I grew up and they found out I'm gay now, right? And it became this whole thing of like God doesn't love you. And like I went through this whole separation inside of myself, and I had to come on, go on a journey to come back home and experience Christ outside of the book, outside of, you know, the stories you hear growing up, but actually feel it inside, right? And ever since I was younger, like I went through a lot of depression, anxiety, different things, and it was always like it was always an energy that I felt around me. He was always that energy of that Christ love and presence. Like I've always
Oh,
felt that, you know, like
yeah.
protected and loved and like everything is gonna be okay and like it's all gonna make sense one day. So now I'm at the point where I'm finally like peeling the layers because it's like certain things I've heard my whole life. Like the kingdom is at hand, the kingdom is at hand. But then like it's like peeling the layers of that sentence, you know what I'm saying? Or
Hmm.
like or the kingdom is within you. Seek first the kingdom. And it's like, okay, I grew up hearing this, and now I'm like, whoa, understanding it so much deeper. And it's like that Christ is inside of everyone. So then I already loved everyone so much, and now I feel like, damn, like I just love everyone that much more because it's like we are like the oneness is true, but then I also see that is like the essence that's inside of everyone, and that potential is inside of everyone. It's up to them if they want to step into it. You know what I'm saying? I honor their journey, their soul's journey. But just like honoring that they have that inside of them. And it
Absolutely.
allows me to see people as like equal and to have compassion and patience and see us as like we're one. You're my brother, you're my sister. It's not like,
Yeah.
you know, it transcends like physical labels of like, oh, well, this is my brother and this is a stranger on the street. It's like,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
y'all are both my brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Exactly.
So
And
yeah.
I also, something that I'm really passionate about too is the stereotypes around gender. Okay. So for me, I understand through the human experience, through biology, okay, male and female genders, we have our differences. However, when you tap into this awareness of what you truly are, that you are both masculine and feminine within, that your soul has no gender, okay, and you tap into your heart's wisdom, right? What your heart yearns for is similar, if not identical, across the board. It doesn't matter if you're male or female or whatever. We have core desires and values from our heart that makes oneness make sense, because it doesn't matter when you're a child, okay, whether it's a boy or girl, okay, that baby needs the same thing. It needs the nurture. It needs care. It needs love. Okay. These are core things that we don't lose as we get older. We always have it within us. Right. Society makes you think that there's different needs, that the male needs this, and the male needs respect, the women needs love, and no. Because I'm a man, and I'll tell you firsthand that I don't value anything more than love. Love is number one, right? Because the truth is, with someone who truly loves you, will also respect you. Okay. And this is where there's all this like gender stereotypes and stigmas and whatnot and double standards. And for me, when you tap into your heart, men and women are actually a lot more alike than different. And we are so deceived by our eyes. We live life according to what our eyes tells us, right? So we are so, this is something that Jiddu Krishnamurti, is a spiritual philosopher, said, that we are so fascinated by the differences between males and females that we forget what actually makes us alike, right? We're so caught up in like, what uh, men are supposed to do in society, what are women supposed to do in society, instead of what human beings are supposed to do, right? What makes us human? And something I talk about a lot is emotions, right? So emotions aren't male or female. Emotions are human, and expressing them is healthy. Yet so many men feel shame and guilt or inferiority and vulnerability as a weakness, right? These are all conditioning from, ironically, other men growing up. Okay. And I'm trying to break through all that. And the core of that is Christ consciousness. Like when you embody Christ consciousness, you see as Christ did, right? Christ loved you no matter what gender you were, right? And always saw the inner child in you, always nurtured that inner child. And when you're in a relationship, especially whether you're gay or straight, you love that person's inner child. You see through the eyes, heart, and mind of the divine. when you embody Christ consciousness, right? You don't just love the physical adult, you love all parts of them. You love that child that they were and still are, because we're all children of God. Okay. And that is a way to love that society is still learning. It's almost uncomfortable for people to love that way because either it hasn't been modeled for them or they haven't experienced it, but that is the way Christ loved. And so if you teach someone to love that way, they see people the way you just said. They're not just brother by blood. They are brother and sister, right? We all bleed the same color, right? We all have a heart. We all go to sleep at night, right? We're all connected. And there's actually a new study that showed that there's a subtle connection. Um, Consciously, humans are all connected by this like very light frequency, all connected. And you act in reality when we go to a concert or we're all tapped into this song and we're all feeling it, right? What my fascination is, what I try to incorporate in my work is metaphors and universal truths. Okay. The language that I speak is metaphors, like not parables, like Christ did, because when you don't have the words to express a deep truth, you use symbols and frequency, energy, vibrations to express that truth. And so music does that, poetry does that, art does that, metaphors do that, right? Love does that. And that's the essence of Christ consciousness. When you tap into that language, love is your compass and conviction through life. If it doesn't speak the language of love, that's your discernment. That's when you know you're not in alignment.
Yes. Yes, it's true. I like when he says you'll know them by their fruit. And it's like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness,
Ugh,
self-control. You
yes.
know, like when you that's all that matters. Like it doesn't matter if they are labeled Hindu, Muslim, atheist, Buddhist, Christian, spiritual,
That's all human. That's all
whatever.
human. It's all human constructs. It's like when, like, I'm not going to say much about this, but someone in my life has applied gender to color and makes my son feel like if you choose this color, it's feminine. Who thought of that? Humans. Okay. If my son loves the color purple or pink, great. It's a color. It's human
Yeah.
to apply gender, and we're such interesting creatures. In for the sake of understanding something, we break it down and separate it and categorize it and label it, and we actually make it more complicated than it originally was. Like, if
Hmm.
you experience life the way Earth does, right? Earth doesn't see the United States, Canada, Africa. It doesn't see that way. It sees a bunch of land, right? Hovering above water. There's no seven bodies of water. There's one body of water interconnected within each other. It's humans who take the puzzle and break it apart. And then we try
Hmm.
to put it all back together. But when you get to the essence of things, when you get to the core of things, that's where you tap into the oneness. That's where God is.
Yes, it's true. It's true, and it's cool like when we can like learn from nature because under like the trees and nature has the mycelium network where like if one tree a mile away falls or gets chopped down or it's like something happens to the tree, the other trees around it are gonna send it love, send it nutrients under
Yeah.
the ground. Like we don't even see it or know that it's happening until they studied it. But it was just like when I learned that, I was like, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful, like that they
Yeah.
just they do that. Like I never knew that growing up that they like be helping each other out and stuff. And I was like,
God
like
created God
humans
created
should be that way.
God created nature as the template for human beings to learn from. Even mushrooms and fungus, right? That network, how intelligent that is. So I feel like we have all that we need around and with us if we're actually paying attention, right? If we're actually present. And that's why meditation is important. That's why, being mindful is important. And that's the journey, right? Now, like, we're distracted and it's not easy in our society with technology, especially. It's, distraction is one of the ways that you get caught up in the system. Okay. But when you take a step back and you kind of step out the way that like astronauts experience Earth from space. It's called the overview effect.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
that is essentially what Christ consciousness is. When an astronaut experiences that for the first time and sees Earth from afar, they're like, "Why the fuck are we fighting? Why are we even why do we have all these wars? And like we're all connected on this planet. Like, see the big picture." And
Mhm.
that's what people don't get a movie and what the ego experiences it from the observer, from the oversoul. And that's what I essentially help people do through my work.
That's amazing. And have you ever done, or do you plan on doing anything like in person, or is it mainly just all
It's been
online
it's
for now?
been especially since COVID, like it's a big thing. Like people haven't really done anything in person per se. They have been mostly through Zoom calls and whatnot. Um, but yes, I do. My biggest aspiration is to be on stage, to speak in front of people, and to kind of reach as many people as I can. Sharing what I do. One-on-one sessions are great, but I feel that this kind of work, if it was in a book or in a program or me speaking on stage, like a Tony Robbins, for example, like that's a great way to get to as many people as I can. So that's my aspiration, is to speak on stage.
I love that. And it's true what you said, like putting it in different deliverables because everybody learns differently. So it's like putting it, like it's like you said earlier with sound frequencies, like different people can tune into different, like if depending on how you deliver it, right? So it's like,
Right.
okay, can do events, can release a book, can release the content,
Yeah,
can do
it's
things
it's
like this.
multiple avenues for people to tap into what you're teaching for what works for them, right? And
Mhm.
something I wanted to share too is like, if your philosophy is or spirituality is so complicated that a 10-year-old can't understand it, or it's too complicated for an 8-year-old to understand, then you're not at the truth of it yet. Because when it's a universal truth, it is immediate resonance. It speaks to your core immediately. And that's what music does. Again, it's what poetry does, art, metaphors, right? You don't have to say so much to feel. God is a felt experience. If you try to understand God through logic, reasoning, you're never gonna get it. Okay, it's a felt experience. So the more you feel into the is, the more it makes sense without having to explain or over explain. So that's what I try to do. I try to take these complex concepts and abstract thoughts and philosophies and break it down into a language that the soul understands, that the heart understands. And that's why I do my best to speak from love, as love, to the best of my ability. Because it doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult, you're going to get what I'm saying. And then if I can deliver it in multiple ways that people can understand, um, that's why I'm really big on pictures. So whenever I share certain posts, that the picture has to encapsulate what I'm saying. Because if you're not going to get it to the words, you're going to get it to the picture. You know.
Mhm. Yes, it's like the some people are auditory, some people are visual, like learners and how they absorb information best. So I love that you say like through art. That's why I do the same thing. I started making music. I've been writing poetry since I was a little kid, but since I've had more awakenings and evolving throughout my journey, now a lot of my music is about anchoring that Christ consciousness, that new earth, that the kingdom is within you. Like,
I
you know
love
what
to,
I'm saying?
I love
Like,
to, I love to hear. Yeah,
empower.
if you have anything that's public, I'd love to hear you've done. Haven't tapped into that yet.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'll send you my like YouTube playlist with the
Definitely.
music on it
Awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to that.
for sure. And what would you say for some people like something that I've come across is a lot of people have like they're searching and they're seeking and they understand it logically. Like they've read all the books like we were talking about and they'll meditate and stuff, but there's still something um like like you, for example, you're a great example of like when your heart opens and you really feel it, and then it just becomes natural where you embody it. Where some people, it's like they want it, but it's not like. quite like flowing for them. It's something I've seen. So I would love like your take on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a reflection of our society where it's so unconscious that we feel that we need to do something to validate that it's there, right? So we're performing. For example, people are so caught up in rituals and practices and doing to see results, right? If they're not doing, then they're not being. But all God asks of you, all the universe and life asks of you is to just be, right? A good example I can give you is a tree, okay? A tree doesn't think about what it is, it just is. A tree doesn't think about giving life to humanity and to animals, but it feeds animals. It provides shade and oxygen to humans, right? It knows what it is. It's confident in what it is. And what does God reward that tree with? More life. It doesn't do anything but give. The giving tree, all it does is give, right? It's a good example of unconditional love. The tree just gives, and what God gives it in return is more life, and it's fucking tall and strong, and it does more of what it is. So, what I would tell people who are so caught up in like trying to figure out what to do next to get to the next stage of their embodiment or ascension is to just be, be present, feel any emotion that's coming through you. Don't try to control those emotions and try to, figure them out. Just feel them, understand them, right? Acknowledge them because they're part of the human experience. You're not escaping the human experience. You're given this human experience to appreciate what life is, for God to experience itself through the human experience, understand itself better, right? It's like if you lived your whole life without ever conversing with anybody, right, or getting feedback, right, or having a pond to see a reflection of yourself, you would never know what you actually look like, or or get any feedback on the quality of your work or anything. And so that's what God is doing through life, through animals and people and whatnot. So just be, right. That's the key, is to just be what you are. Don't try to make it more complicated than it actually is. And when I say to live as love, it's exactly what you said earlier, is those qualities of love, which is compassion, kindness, practice gratitude. When you wake up each day, one of the easiest ways to practice gratitude is just thank God, the universe, whatever you want to thank, that you are breathing, that you are living. If you're so caught up in life, because it happens to me, stressors about bills or what, societal things that we get caught up in, just be thankful that you're alive to even experience this life, because those are conditions imposed upon us by humanity, not by God, right? So this life is squandered when we get caught up in the doing instead of, and men struggle with that especially because they feel like their worth isn't validated unless providing something of value in the world. But when you're a child, you're loved for just being, for existing, for that life. So turning to your childlike wonder, your childlike state, which is what Christ said would allow us to enter the kingdom, essentially, is to be like a child, not to be immature, but to be childlike, right? In that sense of wonder, appreciating life, explore, play, just be. And that, the more you do that, the more you revel in love, and the more you're in alignment with truth.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like the more of that you actually do, then the more alignment, overflow,
And more
abundance,
doors begin to open,
alignment.
the more you start to gravitate towards the things that are meant for you. When you're in alignment, you effortlessly attract the external vibrational expression of your essence, of the energy that you're emitting.
Mm, yes. And then it just continues building and building upon itself more and
Right.
more.
And the thing is, the ego wants certainty. The ego wants to know what's next. What do I have to do to get this? But when you truly surrender to God, when you are operating from your heart, That's the faith you need to take. That is the leap of faith. Leap of faith of knowing that if I'm in alignment with my heart, if I am doing things with intention and integrity, if I'm living as love, then I'm going to be divinely guided. I'm living in truth. So what life throws at me is exactly what I'm supposed to be. Not what the ego wants to be, but where I am is where I'm supposed to be because I am abiding by the laws of the universe, which is to just surrender, be, and see. See what life has given you. Right? Respond. Don't react. Respond to what life has given you. Right? And the more aligned you are, it's like going to a grocery store. Excuse me, lose my voice. Going to a grocery store and without a shopping list, that food seems overwhelming. It's like, oh my God, what do I buy? So much option. When you're in alignment, you go in with a shopping list. That food doesn't even exist. Those options and choices are just distractions and illusions. They don't exist because you know what you want. The path is clear. And that's what it means to live in alignment.
Mm. And that's also what like can cause you to quantum leap and step into another timeline where it's like, even if I'm in the exact same body, I'm seeing the same faces, it's like something's different. You know what I'm saying? Because my awareness has reached another level and
Bam,
I'm like
you got it.
in a different place now.
100%. Perfectly said.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I love what you're doing with ASOC. Is that something like are you partnered with them or
So I ASOC, the gentleman Jonathan, found me through my Instagram page, my work, whatnot, about a year ago, and we just connected. And I talked to him. I would FaceTime him. I saw the kids. I donated them a little bit, whatever I could, and formed a friendship with him. And when I did connect with them, I would see that he would make like a video with all his kids, thanking me and blessing me and giving me love and whatnot. So I formed that trust. Like this is a real thing. This is because there are many scammers out there. We have to also have discernment when we do these kind of things. We have a pure heart, good heart, but we can get caught up with the wrong people if we're not using discernment. I trust
yeah.
him, and so that's pretty much it. I just, I also had a dream. Something I'll share with you after this call. I'll tell you in it. It was a prophetic dream that I had, and this was about 3 months ago. And I woke up in Africa, or what seemed like Africa, and they were in the middle of like a war, but it wasn't like I didn't see any fighting, but the air felt like there was hostility. There was something like a spiritual war, and I was there to deliver a message of hope to unite the people of Africa. And I was running through these woods. This other woman stopped me, and she said, Francesco, if you believe you are the one, I want you to stop every 6 feet and connect with nature. I want you to thank her for being where you are because she's the reason you're here. And if you are the one, she'll know. So I said, okay. So I was walking and I stopped and I connected to this tree, which I believe is the Bodhi tree. That's will it be? I come to find out when I woke up what this was because I was like, what just happened? It was just dream was insane. So as I was walking, I connected to this tree, and all of a sudden I put my back against this tree, and these vines were coming out, and they wrapped around me, and they started glowing, and I was like meshing in with the tree, and I felt like into the tree, and I started to like feel this tree's energy, and it was overwhelming, and then I opened my eyes, and there was the woman staring at me, and she was like in tears, and I was hearing this voice, and I was like talking to this tree telepathically, saying like, I just want to help the people, I want to unite them. This is what I'm here to do. And the tree spoke and said, I see you, my child. You are the one. Now go on. Like deliver the message. And the lady was crying hysterically. She's like, he is the one. He is the one. She called all the villagers over, and they're all witnessing this tree, like hugging, and almost like an Avatar moment, like the movie. And I got up and I went into the middle of this large field, massive field, and this light shining down at where I was. And all these people from Africa were coming out to witness me deliver this message of hope to the people, and then the dream ended. And I woke up and I was like in tears, and it was crazy. And it was crazy is the next day I looked it up and I'm like, does this tree exist? A tree with vines, and is it in Africa? And it is. This tree, the Bodhi tree, what it was called, is in Uganda. So I felt a calling, like my soul calling to Uganda. And then I also did a like an astrological thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically determine where your soul's journey is in your life, like what your life path is. It's not numerology, it's something else. I forgot what it's called, but I did that. And all my coordinates on planet Earth were in Africa. Literally, like everything was pointing to
Wow.
Uganda and Africa. So I feel a strong pull to help Africa. And so my connection to Uganda was that I already had a connection to Jonathan and someone else actually that I'm friends with from there. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And what's crazy is that I went to work the next day, and one of my clients that I was helping, she was like, well, "I'll watch today at work. You're gonna see confirmation of that dream. You're gonna see it. Not even an hour me into the shift, someone comes in and they got the tree of life on their shirt, and I'm like, whoa, like that's insane." And then my coworker, my assistant manager, she comes in like a few days later, and she's like, "I was at this natural food store, and they had these bracelets, and it didn't fit me, but I thought it would be perfect for you." I told her about my dream, and it was a Tree of Life bracelet, and I'm like, it's mother calling me, basically. There's a connection, even if I'm here physically. Like there's like what you were saying about the quantum entanglement, like what happens here can also affect there. We're energetically tied, and so whatever I'm doing here is also helping them there. And I told my friend Jonathan, I said, listen, the world will know of ASOC. I told you, like I'm speaking verbatim what I said to him about a few months ago. I said, the world will know of ASOC. And I know that I'm meant to do this. And then he had a dream. And he said, Francesco, you were my dream last night. And you were helping me build a bridge to paradise, to heaven in Uganda. And I asked him, like, when did you start having dreams of me coming to help you? And he says, this was like last summer. I didn't even know you yet. And I saw this white man coming to help us. And as soon as he saw me on Instagram, he's like, this is the guy. This is the man. And so he connects with me, and we've been friends ever since. And me putting out this video and creating the GoFundMe and attracting Miss Rachel was that bridge that I'm connecting now between ASOC and the world. And I'm hoping to expand beyond just that particular place. But I want to create this thing called the Christed Way Institute eventually, that provides shelter and food and education and technology, these smart communities for people in need. And so hopefully working with Miss Rachel possibly, or whoever, will open that door.
Absolutely. Wow, that's so powerful. Damn. It's like everything. It's like when the time is funny. Time is funny. It's like the dreams are it's like everything already happened and
Yeah,
we're just we're
prophetic.
just
They are.
walking ourselves.
I'll
Yeah,
share. I'll
we're
share that
just like
post because
remembering.
you're gonna love what I said there, because I said they're your dreams are not just dreams. They are prophetic transmissions, because when you're in that state of rest, that's when source can communicate with you. And that's the best way to connect with you and to send you a message. And if you receive it, if you're in alignment, and then you wake up in your wakeful state, and you do the research, and you do a little bit of digging or meditating on what you just experienced, you can learn more about your path and what you're meant to do, what your purpose here is. And that's what I did, and I ran with it. And I said, it's going to happen. And it did. I just trusted. I said, I don't know how it's going to happen, because you can't be fixated on how, on the why or how. It's just having faith that it's going to. It's not a matter of if, but when.
It's like surrendering the how to
Yep.
source.
Yep. Exactly.
That's it.
You
Yeah.
got,
I love that you said you guys plan on like continuing to expand the bridge and everything. I've always felt like that call since I was younger that I wanted to go to other countries and actually help. Not just like I respect it, like donating, but I really want to go. Like I want to go. I want to like
oh,
be.
I can't wait.
I'm like that.
I
I
can't
feel
wait
like I
to
would
get back.
enjoy it. They would enjoy it. We would love each other. Like I love the people. Like
Oh, me too. Me too. And hey, you know what? We connected for a reason. I'm sure we stay connected. We'll do great things.
yeah, absolutely. I'm down to help if y'all ever need help with, anything. volunteers. I volunteer as tribute, in the movie.
Uh, 100%. Yeah. And if you ever want to share what I'm doing to get more people to see what's going on, because, when you do that, again, that's the way God works through people. So when
Mm,
you start to open the doors, you're in alignment in your purpose, God will continue to give you the people, the resources to do what you're supposed to be doing.
absolutely. Yeah, I'll drop the link below this video. So anybody watching this right now can like just click the link below and it'll lead them. I'll
Absolutely.
also share it on social media, but where this is posted, I'll
Yeah,
uh, make
definitely.
sure the link
And
is
like I
dropped
told you
below.
too, I'm offering 20% off the Christed Way program that I have, as well as the Path to Sacred Union that's more geared towards intimate relationships, coming into union within yourself so that you can experience it within your relationship or to attract your beloved without dating, with no dating websites, just being and attracting that in your reality. So I'm offering 20% off of those two programs.
That would be so awesome. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Where can people find that? Is it gonna be a special discount code or is it like a link that they can click?
Yeah. So what's going to happen is I'm in my bio. There's a link to where it says embody with Amati. They can just click on the Calendly link and they can book a 30-minute session because it's a free session. And basically I go over what I offer. And then we determine what they're aligned with, whether it's the Path to Sacred Union program or the Christ Way program. I also offer 4 sessions. That's like a small little package if you don't want to do a program, but you want something to help you with your embodiment. You're going through something. I don't believe in single sessions. I don't feel that's enough for people to really get the most out of what I'm doing. But if you want like something small and curated for you, I also offer a 4 session package for that too. So they can do that, but just going through the link and there's an email there too. You can email me and we'll connect and I can give you that discount.
For sure. For sure. That sounds great. Yeah, my place in this is a little different with evolution of souls. It's kind of like a ecosystem where I know that not like everybody is gonna want to learn like certain things have to be like they got to learn it from certain faces or gender, like they're gonna have certain preferences or they like the way this person says it or this person makes them feel real comfortable. So it's like I'm not I'm just very big on like pointing people in the right direction and like opening different pathways for them. Like one of my friends, Ashley, she does like Kundalini activations. I don't know how to do that.
I love
I've
that.
never.
I feel like you're going to become like a network that connects people like myself and others doing this work so that you can guide people to whoever is meant for them kind of thing. That's amazing. It's
Yeah.
actually one a while ago I wanted to create. It's funny because I'm against dating websites. Because how I met my wife was not through dating, was through my Instagram page. I'll tell you that another day.
Mm.
And so, but I wanted to create like a conscious dating app, and it was actually going to be called Soul Sync. And it was like
Oh,
just syncing with your soul family and through like just being authentic. And so what I want to do on this platform is kind of what you're doing here, where like you go on here and find your soul tribe. Also, like you're looking for a particular kind of like assistance or guidance, and this is like a platform that gives you everything you need. Like you want some for plant medicine, here, go to this person, and you just connect through this one hub. So if you're doing something like that, that is awesome because people want convenience and they want an easy way to find the people for them. So if you're doing that, you're on the right track. It's awesome.
no, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad that it's in alignment and everything and it
Yeah,
resonates with
sure.
you. And I love the soul sync idea. Like if it was like a higher consciousness for like a deeper awareness of like Bumble almost. You know how
Yeah.
Bumble is not just for dating, but like people go on there for friendships,
Oh yeah.
for business, for networking. But if it was like a conscious
Oh
app,
yeah, definitely. And
that
then
would be really cool.
ideas of like introducing like a glossary section of like spiritual terminologies and things that like you like Christ consciousness. You're learning spiritual terms also on here, so you're evolving also in that direction spiritually. And then like the way I wanted to do it, where like the AI would basically track your conversation, and the more conscious your conversation is, whether you're talking about love or spiritual topics, it would give you like your soul like strength, like how connected you are to this person, and the AI would give you like a score kind of thing. And then as far as like pictures and stuff, it'd only be revealed because I want it to be more spiritual connection than physical. After you've connected and you feel comfortable enough, then you start to see the pictures of each other. So it's not like you're connecting just face to face first. It's more like there's a soul connection and see where this goes. Like it's a different take on dating. So
Wow. That is sick.
yeah.
That's like blind dating, but like higher consciousness, or
Yeah, yeah.
like dating with your eyes closed, but your third eye
Feeling them.
open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trying to get people into
Yeah.
their heart. That's what the goal. The goal is.
Yes, yes. And it kind of purifies any like just lust type of energy,
Got
you
it.
know?
Well, these are in the pipeline. You know, I'm just getting started here, so we'll see. And I'm connected with the right people. I feel like you're someone that we can definitely build and grow some ideas. So,
Yes, absolutely. I love that you're merging with AI instead of being scared of it. Because
I
instead of moving by faith, I mean by fear, it's like, no, I got faith that this is just amplifying me. And I mean,
oof, you got it.
I love me. So like, let's do it.
If we
Let's
connect again,
amplify it.
I'm sure we'll connect again. That's a topic I love to
Yeah,
discuss about moving with
absolutely.
faith instead of fear, even with
Mhm.
AI. And not trying to reject it and fear it, because that is the reality you're going to create. You're actually going to create the reality you're trying to resist by
Mhm.
by resisting it. But if you approach it with faith, with love, with compassion, that's going to be the reality you experience with AI. It's gonna
Yeah.
age you. It's gonna amplify. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a different time. But just
Yeah, it's like stay tuned for episode 2. Like it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's the cliffhanger.
for sure, for
It's
sure.
like, wait, don't stop there. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm really
Yeah, you get my page. There's definitely some stuff on AI that controversial in the spiritual community, but I'm all for it. I feel like to me, AI technology is like the eighth wonder of the world. I feel like it's like look how we networked, right? Like it can be beneficial if you use it, with conscious intention.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. Like we said, it just amplifies what you are already, like money. So there's
Right.
no need to say money is the root of evil or AI is the root of evil. It's like, nah, baby, both of them are just amplifiers.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I love